All right, what's up, fam? This is Jacoby, and in this video, I want to make a kind of all-in-one video for crypto noobs. Those people brand new to cryptocurrency, you're at level 1, maybe 2 or 3. I'm going to pack this with years of experience, just gems and nuggets of little tips of value to get people up to speed as quickly as possible in one video. At least that's my goal here. I did a video, I made one like a week ago, and I spoke for 3.5 hours straight, and then realized I forgot to turn on the right camera, and I gave myself laryngitis in the process. So hopefully that doesn't happen again today. I will try to keep the mic a little closer to me and talk a little bit softer so that I don't damage my vocal cords. So anyways, there's a lot of people more and more asking about Bitcoin, asking about crypto. And this is kind of a big, vast subject. It's multidisciplinary. There's a lot to learn, a lot to take in. So I'll just kind of go through step by step everything I would want to tell to somebody that I love, a family member, a close friend, to, take them under my wing, guide them along, and give them, lots of value and advice to get them from level 1 through 3 up to level maybe 5 through 7 or 8, depending on how much you can absorb, depending on how you can remember it and if you use it or not. So let's get started.
We're not very courageous. We're kind of cowardly. Why? The fact of the matter is that these people have nooses around their necks. So it's awful horrible what they're doing to other people, but they're also doing it to themselves. It's actually slow motion suicide, and we ought to try to stop them.
All right, so first of all, square one is kind of what is Bitcoin. And I'm not going to go into like everything today in this video. I'm going to kind of give a real kind of a survey, introductory, with a bunch of nuggets in there, things to think about, maybe perhaps even a unique perspective. So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is digital currency. It was first designed as digital currency, and we all know the anonymous creator was Satoshi Nakamoto, and he wanted, in the 90s, there were all these cypherpunks trying to decentralize money to, they have a movement to bring privacy and power to everyday citizens and to decrease the power and control of the government. And so they were trying to create a decentralized digital money. And eventually, somebody following their discussions, nobody knows who it is, came up with Bitcoin. And it's basically reliable money. That's how I put it. I think there's a really popular blog called The Bullish Case for Bitcoin. I really recommend you read it because it's very layman friendly, and it goes through the different attributes of what money is, what sound money is, and shows how Bitcoin is superior. Bitcoin is actually, with the exception of possibly other crypto competitors with lesser network effects, the most advanced form of money known to man in all history. If we really understand what money is, we've all been conditioned to think money is created by the government, and we say it is, and therefore it is. But really, if you study the history of money, people use things like seashells, glass beads, different kinds of metals. First it was crude metals, then it was precious metals, and then sometimes they would debase the precious metals with crude metals. There was some French soldiers in Canada who used playing cards for a time, but those don't make for good money because you can counterfeit them. So good money is, I think you can really sum it up in asking, is this reliable? Can I counterfeit it? Can I inflate it? Can I tamper with it in some way? Can I, like the Fed does, manipulate it through interest rates, through QE, through printing out of nowhere, right? Another way that they enforce money is money, even though it's no longer backed by gold, it's backed by nothing but the government decree. And that's why they can inflate it and benefit those who get it first. The banks get it at the lowest interest rate, the big banks, and then, and the institutional investors, and they can then go buy land, commodities, or whatnot, stocks, and get filthy rich off it. And by the time this money trickles down through the economy to the little people who are just living check to check, who have been taught to be a consumer-based society and don't save, it's worth much less, and they get higher interest rates. So over the years, little by little, everyone is getting robbed except for those who are gathered around the money spigot, right? So reliable money would prevent such manipulation, such corruption, right? Such favoritism. It would be more fair for everyone. It would hold value over time instead of lose value over time, like gold did through many centuries, as it was the primary form of store of value, not storm. And silver served more as a currency because there's a rule that bad money drives out good money. People tend to save the money that's most valuable, like assets, land, gold is a form of a store of value, right? You store your value in it. And then the currency, the lesser one, it would be silver, because silver corrodes faster than gold. Silver is therefore less reliable. So one of the aspects of money is durability. So you have durability, divisibility. You want to be able to separate it into small parts. They used to use cattle as money, but you can cut a cow in half and make a covenant with God, but that's not very useful back then they didn't even have fridges, right? So then salt could preserve food. So there was a time when salt became a form of currency. They paid Roman soldiers in salt. Salt is highly divisible. You can weigh it out in different portions and stuff, but it's not easily portable. So the Chinese would wear these, I don't know if they wore them around their neck, but they had these leather strings with coins with a hole in the middle, so they could easily, it's kind of like a form of a tally, right? So, in England for a while they had the tally sticks where they would take a special stick, I think it was hazelnut wood, and they would cut notches in it to keep track of how much debt was owed to somebody borrowing money from the goldsmiths, and then they would cut it in half, and the goldsmith and the person with the debt would have the same notches. They would line up, so you couldn't counterfeit it. It was hard to counterfeit. Of course, you could, if you were the king, you could just go get a bunch more sticks and say, I'll pay this back later, right? And then later on they can just default on the loan. That's basically what's happening today on a much grander scale. So through history, fiat currencies have a failure rate of 100%. And the US dollar has managed to survive the longest because after World War II, we had something like 2/3 of the world's gold. And of course, did everything to make sure that happened, no matter how evil. And then they were able to make the dollar, the major world currency, and the Federal Reserve, which was not a government institution, which was made by international bankers and other, globalist connivers or what have you. They've been manipulating this for a long time, and they get a lot of money off of manipulating markets, creating wars, obtaining and keeping wealth and power. It's all connected. And then, of course, when you have all that wealth and power, you control the media and you control politics. So money is really, a crucial aspect of all world happenings, right? So we want a more fair world. If we want to bring power from the centralized wicked or those who have been corrupted by the power and spread it out more among the people, blockchain technology gives us the opportunity, the possibility. Now, the tech itself is neutral, right? You can use it for good, you can use it for evil. You could use blockchain technology like the Chinese or the big tech companies to track people's informations, do, the surveillance state stuff and all that. You can use this stuff for evil, to enslave society, which is why I don't like the coin Ripple, because Ripple is just trying to help the banks. And that's the whole point of crypto, is to get out of that system, to opt out, to give us, to broaden our horizons, give us new possibilities. And the only way it's really going to work, make a better future for future generations, is if people adopt it, right? As the network effects grow, it can become so strong that no one can take it down, not even governments. People worry about crypto getting taken down because of government regulation. Well, they can shut down the exchanges. They can certainly slow it down. But the number of people that understand it is growing, and the number of miners is growing, not only in Bitcoin, but in networks where it's much easier to participate in network security just by staking your coins. And if you start from the very beginning, so when the blockchain itself, since it's a public ledger, anybody can check it. The government or other chain analysis companies can track all your transactions, and they can connect them to your email, connect them to your bank account if you connect your crypto wallets to that. So, they're very sophisticated in how they can track all your transactions and connect different wallets. So they can get you. Even criminals who are very careful, they can get them if they're not uber careful. So if you really want to remain uber private, you start from the very beginning, probably on a fresh computer. You always use Tor and a VPN, and You never connect a wallet or exchange to a personal email. You create a new email under an anonymous name, and everything's anonymous, and you never connect it to anything connected to you. So, and there's enough people that know that they're never going to kill crypto. And if they try to, they would probably give a boost to, there's a sector of the market that's privacy coins. So they would boost that sector of the market. Sometimes they might try to outlaw privacy coins on exchanges, but now we have decentralized exchanges. So when a money or a crypto project is decentralized, it makes it more reliable because there's no central point of failure. The government can't come and arrest somebody and take it down. Like, even if they arrested one of the creators of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, they can't shut down Ethereum even if they tortured him, because everyone securing the network is a distributed, decentralized network of miners. So you can't stop that. You can slow it down. You can certainly hurt the market. You can manipulate the market with media or whatever. But they're never going to stop this. It's too big now. There's too much infrastructure. There's too many people that will store wealth in it, especially Bitcoin. So yeah, a lot of people say, this one man, I forgot his name, he debated Michael Saylor recently, and he kept talking about how there's no way the government's going to let someone take away their monopoly on monetary issuance. And I agree. I agree with that 100%, because that's how they run everything, and all that's connected, the politics, the lobbying and the wars, the military industrial complex, big pharma, big tech, all that's connected. And they're not just going to, the reason they're letting Bitcoin stay around is because they're invested in it behind the scenes. So, or they don't see it yet as a threat, or they're enriching themselves on it. Probably all the above. And anyways, so, but if they tried to shut it down, it's just not going to be impossible. You certainly hurt the price for a while, but anyways, it's decentralized. It's very reliable. So, what are some other forms of reliability? Like, for example, gold. Gold is hard. It takes money and resources to dig for it. It's not easy to inflate it. So you only have so much gold that's produced every year, and it costs so much money to produce it. Unless, of course, technology advanced to the point where they could easily get it from ocean bottoms or perhaps off of asteroids someday and then inflate the market. But even now they could inflate the market, but they keep the gold back in warehouses. They keep it off the market. Or like they do with diamonds. They keep a lot of diamonds off the market to help the price go up. And just like they manipulate any market, gold, weather, whatever stock it is, they've been from day one, when there was big crashes and people were trying to corner the copper market or corner the railroad markets and all this. Whenever there's money, big money, there's going to be scammers, there's going to be manipulators. So crypto kind of gets a bad rap for being a scam, but it's really simple-minded to think, oh, there was a scam in crypto, so all crypto is a scam. Or, I don't understand it. How can you create money and those people that had it first, they get rich, so it must be a scam? Well, it's not that simple. There are some that are, and there are some that aren't. The key question isn't, is it blockchain? The key question is it decentralized? And you have decentralization in governance. You have decentralization in the distribution of the coins. And involved in that is what is called a fair launch. How did they launch the project at the beginning? Who gets enriched? Does it give everyone a fair chance to get involved, to participate? And there's many different variables that go into that. But when it comes to mining, it's basically, can anyone join? And was there a pre-mine for the team? And if there was a pre-mine for the team of coins that were pre-minted before they launched the blockchain, how big is it? And is it fair? Because there's something to be said for a fair launch. But there's so much competition that there's something also to be said for marketing. I mean, Bitcoin was something of a miracle. It's a phenomenon that it survived as long as it did, because it was launched and grew this massive network, and it's the #1 cryptocurrency. And there were many times in the past when it wasn't that decentralized, when it could have been attacked if somebody cared to attack it. But the financial incentive wasn't that strong yet because it wasn't worth so much. And there was at one time one pool that had over 51% of the hashing power, and they could have attacked it. But they didn't. They weren't bad actors. So it took all these different variables along the way, given even Bitcoin's vulnerabilities or different problems they found, and then they were able to, they call it it's anti-fragile, because it just can't be broken. If you find a problem with it, they just make it stronger, right? It's very resilient, and it has a very strong, passionate almost cultic network of supporters, or not cultic, but cultish. There's a lot of tribalism in crypto and this fighting between blockchains. And the thing, I love Bitcoin. I really value Bitcoin as a store of value, as a deflationary currency. But also at the same time, we got to recognize that other cryptos that are Turing complete, which means they have computer language where you can build applications on top of them, which you can't do with Bitcoin, even though actually that's no longer true. They have sidechains now built on top of Bitcoin, which Bitcoin being one of the most securest cryptocurrency networks in existence makes the sidechain on it very secure. Because in order to attack the sidechain, they build it so that you'd have to actually attack Bitcoin. So even Bitcoin's developing now in the early stages to where you will be able to build apps on top of it and stuff. So, that said, my point of that being is Bitcoin has immense value as a hard money, as a store of value that's reliable, that can't be hacked, even if you're a hacker and you wanted to hack it, and damage the reputation of the network, then you're damaging the value of the very thing that you have just attacked. So there's really not a strong incentive. Plus, you would have to have these days, billions and billions of dollars, or collude with a lot of people, and those people have a financial incentive to secure the network, not to attack it. So it just doesn't make mathematical sense to want to hurt the network. Now, if you go to another crypto that's secured the same way Bitcoin is, and you attack it and you get those coins and then you quickly go sell them for Bitcoin, yeah, you can do that. That's why it's harder for newer cryptos to catch up to the point of growth that Bitcoin did. There's a lot of stuff they have to go through. And one of the keys they say is look for developers, which there's different kinds of network effects, right? You have the users, you have the HODLers, you have the developers, you have the investors, you have the traders, you have all these different types of network effects. And they say follow the developer. The project that has development happening, that has people, submitting code to GitHub to upgrade to work on the project, those are the ones that you want to look for. The projects that are faithfully building, that are actually writing code, right? And they have the developers, more and more developers are contributing to its growth. This makes, the more decentralized it can become in governance, in distribution, in development, and even in marketing. If you have all these different people basically shilling it, is what they call it in crypto, promoting it, this becomes more decentralized and it takes on all these network effects. So that's the number one thing you want to look for in a crypto is it decentralized in governance, in distribution, and in hashing power. Hashing power is the mining power. So you don't want all the miners in one building. Like they say, most of the hashing power was in China, which is actually one of my concerns about crypto, because I know China being a communist nation that's partly capitalistic, they're buying ports all over the world. They've got their hand in so many pots, and they're trying to become the number one world power, and they're very, very serious about it and very Machiavellian about it. So they'll do anything. So they see this Bitcoin and they're basically trying to get the biggest piece of the pie. They're either going to let it win and capitalize on it, or try to destroy it if it threatens their power. And I would really take that to heart. So this last week they announced that China banned Bitcoin. It's like, well, they did that several times and then they never really did anything serious. Just maybe got some exchanges out of there to make it look like they were doing something. But if you ask me, a lot of the mining operations in China are probably government subsidized, and the government is behind it, and they're just not. There's no way large mining farms are happening in China and the government doesn't know where they're at or doesn't allow it, right? They're doing both, and they're probably involved in it. And the only reason they let any company succeed in China is because they're behind it and they're benefiting from it in some way. And if the owner tries to go rogue, they're going to take him out, right? He's going to disappear. So, that said, I hope that this banning of mining in China is actually true. Now, while this was probably my biggest concern about China, them having the majority of the mining power. So hashing power is basically you have all these machines mining Bitcoin, and you, with all the amount of energy, the power to run the program is measured. and most of that power was out of China. So, but there's more and more. It's getting more and more popular in the United States, and they're looking for renewable energy solutions. Which actually, this whole narrative is just bizarre and stupid because, first of all, most of the renewable energy stuff, the stuff that's built like the solar panels, takes dirty energy to build those things. So this is all just silliness. But at the end of the day, anyway. Not an expert in that, but it's not. My point is that there's more mining growing outside of China now quickly, and people that take it very, very seriously. So this will make it more reliable, more safe, in my opinion, because I want China to have as little influence, wealth, and power as possible. Okay, so there's other ways that money is reliable, but it's durable, divisible, fungible means you trade one for one, like $1 for $1. If I have two diamonds, they're not equal, right? So they're not fungible. If I have two baseball cards that are different players in different years, they're not fungible because they have a different value, right? But money is fungible. You trade it one for one. So that makes a reliable form of money. Wide acceptance is a form of reliable money, which is the major thing that Bitcoin lacked. Transportability. Can you transport it easily? When Bitcoin blows dollars away, even though dollars are mostly digital now, you got to go through SWIFT, you got to pay a middleman, you got to get permission a lot of times. Sometimes it takes a day or even 3 days. With crypto, you can transfer it in seconds. So there's a lot of advantages to money as a cryptocurrency, but the primary one for me is the opportunity to make the world more fair for our children. That's the biggie. Really, if we could all just wake up and see the potential of the power that's in this, and we could all just passionately at least take 5 to 20, even 30% of our wealth, if we can afford it, and put it there and keep it there, and hopefully more and more opt out of dollars. Let the banks die, the banking system die, and let the dollar die. Good riddance. So at first, like I was talking about, the dollar was backed by gold. Then they removed the gold standard. Well, first they confiscated everyone's gold when the dollar was backed by gold, and then later on they removed the gold standard. And they confiscated the gold. I think it was 33, and then they removed the gold standard in 71. And then after they created the gold standard, they had the Bretton Woods system, which all the other currencies in the world were connected to the dollar. So by doing that, you put the dollar central stage, and so the global economy over the last century and a half became more and more connected. And you needed a currency that was widely accepted by everyone, and the dollar filled that vacuum. And then even though they removed gold from it, they could continue to force it upon the world by 1, lots of countries valuing it and using it as their reserve currency, by 2, forcing the population to pay taxes in it, and by 3, then they backed it up with oil. They made it the petrodollar. So all these things has allowed gold, at this ever-expanding the world population and this growing economy, where we can now create value with less stuff. We create value through goods and services, right? Through products, physical products, and through services. So we can create value through the internet in many, many different ways. So the economy is just expanding like crazy, and that's why I think money has been able to survive as long as it has. I mean, the dollar, because fiat currencies, you keep inflating them, they'll eventually fail. And that day, I believe, is coming for the dollar, unless they find some tricky way to reset everything. But so you can't just keep printing money, and they've got more and clever with manipulating economics. But eventually, the further down the road you kick the can, eventually it'll catch up to you, and the house of cards is going to come tumbling down. So somebody was asking me, well, what is the value in what is Bitcoin backed by? Well, like I just explained, the real money is basically think of it like those wooden things that you move on the bar where you're just keeping track of transactions, but where if you move one on one system, it automatically moved it on 100 others, and everyone could verify that they all agreed, right? So it's verifiable, it's provable, it's a distributed ledger. It's a ledger everyone can check and everyone has, and everyone upgrades at the same time. So all money really is, in the simplest form, is a record of exchanges of value. I give you $2, you give me a pair of socks or whatever. I give you $5, you give me a burger and a milkshake. Exchange of value. I give you $20, you give me a massage. That's a service. So how does money have value when it's not backed by a physical product? Well, this is actually a better form of money because it's not subjected to such whims of the market by physical production of something. It's based on math that cannot be tampered with, that can't be changed. So this makes it more reliable. It's a service. It provides everyone convenience and trust. You don't trust in a person, you don't pay a middleman, you trust the math that can't be hacked. So it's reliable. So it's something that everyone agrees that we will use this to track our value exchange. So if enough people agree, and it can't be changed, it can't be counterfeited, it can't be inflated, it can't be deflated, unless you burn the coins, send them to an address where they're permanently lost. I guess you can deflate it that way, but all that does is make the value go up because there's less of them. So this concept of scarcity and finite supply, I personally think the best currency is a permanent inflation of 1 to 2% a year that can't be adjusted, that the government cannot manipulate. So if in the economy businesses are malinvesting or the government's malinvesting money, let it fail. Let those things fail. That doesn't make for an efficient economy, and it doesn't make for a fair economy. So a constant inflation, I think, is a great form of currency, but as a store of value, Bitcoin is great because at the end of the day, what matters is not if you got all your math right in how many coins you distribute every day, or if you had the best, most advanced, clever, superior technology, but which one do the people end up choosing to use? That's why now we see this stuff from, Dogecoin and these other dog meme coins where it's like, these are stupid, but they actually could become something serious because all of these Generation Z TikTokers and stuff, even though the tech might be inferior, even though the project might be more centralized, where a lot of the coins are only in a few hands, these could still succeed if enough people don't care about those things and use it anyway, right? So even though it's inferior in some of the fundamentals, it's still a threat. But it's not ideal. I think we should all, since we have this opportunity for us all to decide on what the money of the future is going to be, we should look for something that's most fair for everyone. And the thing is when you get in early on these coins and you get a good chunk of them for cheap, you're incentivized to promote it to people because the more people come in and the network grows, the more wealthy you become. So now this goes into a lot of nuance about, are people promoting it because it's really good tech, or are they just trying to get rich, or is it both, or so there's a lot of nuance to that because people could have good motives or they could have very selfish motives. And but the thing is, do we not promote it if it's really if it is a good product that has strong tech, that has good tokenomics, we call it, the amount of number of inflation, the number of coins that will be produced, and how many are in central hands. That's all called tokenomics. Who gets what in the beginning, and where do they go? Do the investors have the same price as the later retail buyers and all that? All that's called tokenomics. So we want to find one that's as fair as possible, that decentralizes opportunity, that decentralizes power, but like I said, the most important thing to look at a crypto is hype and network effects. And I think there's two different kinds of hype. So there's I call it real hype and then short-term hype. So there's these different trends, like recently we had with Dogecoin. Is that just a short-term trend, or is this going to be a long-term thing? Elon Musk tweeted about getting developers involved on it, so who knows? But while you want to look at who's the team building it, is it fair? Is it decentralized? What's the technology? What's the vision? Is this meeting a new need? Those things are super important, but even the best of projects fail if the people don't, if a community doesn't come behind it, if the network effects don't grow, if it doesn't find a market. So there's a lot of great ideas, but the market just might not be ready for them, or people might not understand it yet, or it might just not get marketed well. So you got all these great ideas, and then that are failing, and you have these bad ideas that are succeeding. And that's the craziness of the market, which we need as many people in here as possible who are as educated as possible, so we can make a better future for everybody, right? Okay, so some people call it a Ponzi scheme because the people who get the coins early, they benefit off the people that come in later. Well, some projects yes, some projects no. Some are set up like a Ponzi scheme where the team and founders get a bunch of coins and they just are all about hype and marketing, the short-term hype, where you pay some YouTubers, you pay some TikTokers, and you get this short-term hype going and you try to pump the price and then you're selling on the people and you get out. And some people ride those waves just to make a few bucks. Now, I don't see anything wrong with investing in crypto to make a few bucks, but I also like to do it with principles. Nothing wrong with making money if you're truly providing value to people, or if the thing is serious, right? And if you really believe in it. So I don't like to even trade XRP or Stellar because these are coins trying to help the banking system. So according to my principles, I think crypto is all about getting out of that system, not aiding that system. So I don't want to give it a dime of liquidity. Okay, so we got to be principles based, and if you understand economics, right? If there's 10 cars in the world, well, how can I put this? Basically anything you buy, like if you go to the store and buy bread, right? But no one eats bread, nobody likes it. You might be the only person who really likes bread, so you're willing to pay more for it, right? But if there's a lot of bread that's made, and everyone eats bread, the price of bread is going to go down. A lot of people the more people buy it kind of pushes the price up, and then the more people make it kind of pushes the price down, and it finds this, market equilibrium, right? So when more people come in, these markets get pushed up. This is just demand. So that's not a Ponzi scheme, that's economics. It's just simple economics. And we want that. So we're at the, if you look at an S-curve of adoption, we're in the very early stage. Less than 1% of the world uses Bitcoin. I think nowadays something like 15% of Americans own some crypto, but less than 1% of the world uses crypto, or less than 2% for sure. So we're very, very early. And this S is going to go like this. It's going to be going up, and the markets are going to be all crazy and volatile. But once we get up here to the top, things are going to stabilize. Volatility is going to slow down. The markets will be much bigger. It will be harder to manipulate them and harder to move them around. Of course, you'll still have new microcaps that come out with new ideas, and more than 9 out of 10 of them will fail. But my point is that don't be as scared of the volatility, because it's a young market, it's a small market, and it's going like this, getting adopted. But once it gets to the top, things will mellow out, right? So, I think of it like if I threw an orange, in a bowl full of water, it's going to splash a bunch of the water out. If I go throw an orange in the ocean, it's going to blunk, and make a small splash. So, if I have $1 million in a $10 million coin, I can go easily move the market with that money. But if I have $1 million in a $10 trillion market, I can't really do much with that. I need a lot more money to be a market mover, right? So my point is that's something important to understand in crypto. That's why Bitcoin has volatility, where if Bitcoin goes up 5%, other altcoins can move 10 or 20% because the market's so much smaller. It's easier to move them with less money, right? So it's all about, it's good to think in percentages when you're buying and selling these different currencies. So all that said, I really believe that cryptocurrency, I think that God loves it. I think that God likes justice. He likes fairness. I think that he hates corruption and unjust scales. And I think that we want, equality and equal opportunity for all people. We want a bigger middle class. We want people to be rewarded that work hard, and not for, I believe in capitalism and a free market, but I also don't believe in tyranny. And I think that centralization of power, whether it's through capitalism or communism, really what's evil is centralization. It's not either of those, it's centralization. So globalism, any kind of central control. And when you have capitalism where people are hustling for monopolies or forming trusts, nowadays they probably don't call them trusts, but these conglomerates and stuff that work together to kind of basically control and corner everything like big tech does or big pharma does. This leads to centralization of power. So we really need more distributed power, more distributed wealth, more distributed opportunities for small businesses and for everyone. So everyone has a higher quality of life and they're not being slowly robbed. Okay, and so the more power we take away from them, the less they can control the media and everything. We can decentralize social media. We can decentralize. We can make the world fair if everyone wakes up and gives this a chance and believes in it. So, recently there was the Bill Maher video where he is making fun of cryptos, and he calls US dollars real money. And it's like, wait a second. That's the fake money. That's the biggest scam of all. That's a multi-tiered MLM scheme. I mean, it's just a joke. Like, he does not understand money whatsoever if he calls US dollars real money, because it's not real money. Even the gold, which is a much better form of money, even that market's manipulated. So Bitcoin is superior to gold. It's superior to all of that stuff. I wouldn't say personally that it's ideal in every way, but it has the massive network effects and it has a finite supply. So let's keep it. And even if you're one of the people that get in later, though I believe people say the markets are a zero-sum game where for one guy to win, another person has to lose. I disagree with that, because people get in and out at different times for different reasons, and then some people want to store their wealth in there for a few years and then sell that wealth and buy some land or start a business or whatever, and other people want to save it for generations, for their grandkids. Everyone has a different agenda, and like I said, we're at the bottom of the S curve. When we get to the top, if crypto wins, everybody wins, because the world will be changed as we know it for the future. And if we don't, this Orwellian centralization will just grow more and more and more power. This is our best chance of stopping it. It's our best chance of having a non-bloody revolution right, in the comfort of our own homes. Not saying we'll succeed, but with all our heart, we should pray it does and get involved. So, now, how does Bitcoin mining work? Real quick, basically you have, let's say, thousands of computers, and they're running the software that stores the blockchain, the whole list of transactions throughout all the history, and they all agree, so they can all check each other's, right? And also, what they do is there's a number that the computer has to guess, so they start spitting out random numbers, like, I don't know how many per second, a lot, millions even, I think, until one of the computers guesses the right number that solves this equation, and then it's like they won the jackpot, and for that block, which happens every 10 minutes, they get rewarded with some Bitcoin. And I think it's 6.25 Bitcoin. So every 4 years, the number of rewards gets cut in half. So the inflation, the currency is not being inflated, it's being deflated, right? It's going down less and less every year. That's why the macro trend, the yearly trend of Bitcoin in value goes up, because the supply that's being emitted out into the economy goes down, and the network grows and the demand increases. So even though Bitcoin is volatile and does all this up and down, the macro cycle over the years is up. And when we're going to do this S, we're going to go up, and then we're going to, up here towards the top, we'll level out, and we'll probably still go up, but it will be much more level, right? So, and that's, and now we're in where there's much less coins produced per block. And if you're in a mining pool, all the miners in that pool that work together, if one of the computers guess the right number, then all the computers in that pool that have the same amount of power, they split it up, they share it. So that's how pools work. So that's basically how Bitcoin mining works. You have to pay to run these machines. And the incentive is you get rewarded with Bitcoin. And, if you're running them for a year, some of those blocks, you'll be the machine that's lucky and gets the rewards, right? And so that's basically how the network is secured from attackers, is you have to be paying money for energy to be participating in the security of the network and to get rewarded for your participation. So that's how it works. That's how Bitcoin works. So what's the difference between that and Dogecoin? Because Dogecoin's, all the rave, and now there's the Shiba coin. Dogecoin started as a joke where they would randomize the rewards. They would give one machine maybe 10 Doge and then another 1,000,000 Doge or something crazy like that. But then later on they thought, oh, that's not a good idea. Let's make all the rewards equal, like Bitcoin has. And so now 5 billion Dogecoin are produced every year permanently, which is actually great, I think, as a currency. It's better than a coin with a finite number, which works as a good store of value. But the problem with Dogecoin is most of the coins are owned, a large majority of the coins are owned by 10 addresses. So this is just not a fair distribution. It didn't get a good start. You can fork Dogecoin. Why doesn't Elon Musk use his influence and power to make something completely new and announce it months in advance to give everybody a chance to get in on it and mine it and participate? It's like, so like speaking of mining, Bitcoin miners, as the network grew and it required more and more power to keep up in order to compete to win the rewards, they have these specialized machines built for it. They're called ASICs machines. And, but now there's other crypto projects where they make it so it's ASIC resistant, which means you can only do it on your laptop or on your phone or through staking. So it gives a better incentive or a better opportunity for everyone to get involved because they don't have to pay all this money for these specialized machines. And so this creates more decentralization in those who are securing the network. So I personally don't like Dogecoin. I don't have anything against it other than really that. I think 5 billion coins a year is great because over time the stock to flow ratio will increase. So basically, you know, for the amount of coins you have over the years, but the amount coming in is still consistent, but the ratio compared to how much exists gets smaller and smaller every year. So there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it can't be changed, as long as it can't be tampered. If it could be changed, it's through a decentralized process where the miners agree to fork the chain, which should be, if it's a large enough network of miners, it should be in the best interest of the project. Okay, so people ask a lot, am I too late to get involved in this? No time is too late. Like I said, less than 2% of the world is using this stuff, so we're still early. Don't look at the prices, look at the vision. And if you think, well, Bitcoin, the last Bitcoin's going to be mined in like the year 2140. So from now until 2200 and probably beyond, it will be a store of value. It's a way of saving your money. If you're putting in dollars and your dollars are losing 5% of their value every year, or you're investing in real estate and soon a lot of people think we're going to have a big, you know, real estate bust. It's like, why not put some of your money in something that actually is going to hold that value over time? Okay, so you're not too late. And then, of course, there's other crypto projects that are competing, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but there's tons of opportunities. Millionaires are being made every year, and a lot of people are losing money, especially as new people who aren't very savvy or making bad decisions or don't know when to get out. You know, there's bad stuff happening, people getting scammed and stuff. So just because bad stuff's happening doesn't mean that some of it isn't golden and revolutionary. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So if you just care about making money and you want to look at, like, there's a lot of like coins under Bitcoin. So if we can look here. So I have a list here that I created. You can go to the homepage of CoinGecko. Well, let's go there first. And you scroll down here, and you look at the top 100 coins, and you think, like, Chainlink is a very popular one. It's an oracle. It basically gives data feeds from the real world, like price feeds or other things, to blockchain projects. So it has a unique value proposition that Bitcoin or other coins don't have. It does a unique thing, and it does it on the blockchain, right? So if you are a long-term believer in any of these top 20, 30 coins, these are some of these I don't like, but some of these I like a lot. So these are going to be lower risk. If they're not Bitcoin and they do succeed over time, they're likely to grow in percentage gains compared to Bitcoin. So don't worry about the price of the coin, worry about the market caps. A lot of new people come in and they say, oh, Cardano's only $1.55, I can buy a bunch of them. But Polkadot's a competitor and it costs $21. But that's not really what matters, because you can have fractions of coins. Percentage growth is what matters, and that's measured by the total number of coins times the current value. So you're measuring not only the price, but the price times the supply. Okay? So your Polkadot is $21 billion. Your Cardano's right now at $49 billion. So if I think Polkadot is going to win over Cardano, or at least that they're going to go neck and neck in the long run, I can invest right now in Cardano or Polkadot because it has half the market cap Cardano does, and Cardano just recently had a huge run up. So the odds of Polkadot, maybe it won't catch up to Cardano. Earlier this year, it was in front of Cardano. It was number 3, I believe. So, you know, and these coins in this area right here, they're, you know, fluctuating, and who's in the top 5 and whatnot. Or you can come down here, you can find a good project. Aave is a great project. You know, Cosmos is a great project. People like Tezos, I personally don't know much about it. PancakeSwap, that's a great project because it has a lot of network effects and hype, even though it's decentralized because Binance is behind it. Well, PancakeSwap itself, yeah, the team is decentralized, but nobody knows who they are, so they can't be a, you know, point of failure for the government to attack. It's a decentralized exchange, so I don't think anybody could take it down. But it is centralized in the fact, in one sense, that the blockchain it's running on is the Binance blockchain, which only has like 11 validator nodes. So that's very centralized, and that has trade-offs. Because if you trust Binance, who they've kind of proven themselves to be trustworthy over the years, they can do stuff if something gets hacked to compensate people or roll the chain back or get the situation fixed. Where on a blockchain that's completely decentralized, if something goes wrong, it can be completely compromised, or you have to fork it, or it's much harder. So there's trade-offs to centralization and decentralization. But if the thing about, I think with some projects, some level of centralization is helpful, like Celsius, right? They're a lending platform where you can put your coins in their wallets, and they basically, in a very secure way, loan these coins out to institutional investors, and they collect interest on them, and they pay the majority. They do the opposite of the banks, where if the banks keep your money and they loan it out to people, they take the majority of the interest. But Celsius gives the majority of the interest to the users. Okay, it's a really great project, even though I don't understand why they support Ripple, because Ripple's trying to help the banks, and Celsius' whole motto or slogan is unbank the banked. So they're anti-bank, and they're supporting Ripple. It makes no sense to me. But anyway, nonetheless, great project, fantastic. There is some level of centralization where the team had some tokens in the beginning, but they had milestones they had to hit by price before some of those tokens would be unlocked to the team. So when you're looking at, does the team got tokens in the beginning of a project? Sometimes if you don't have a pre-mine where the team gets some tokens, or they have a vesting schedule where later on some of those tokens will be unlocked and they'll reward them, they have no incentive to work. But if you unlock all the tokens and give them to the team, or you give them to the venture capitalists or the early investors right away, they can just dump them on the market, and then they might get rich, but they just destroyed the project. So depending on the project, different dynamics of this are ideal, right? So like if you have a project where you want a centralized team managing things, right? Like Celsius, and it's over-the-counter desk, or you know, it's desk that's making these deals with the loans and everything, and that's writing the emails, and that's updating the community and doing the video interviews and all that, you know, and all the marketing. It's a centralized team is good, and some financial incentive is good, but to have those tokens unlocked over a period of time with goals and milestones for the team to work for, this can help make a project succeed if you balance all this correctly, right? So in some cases, certain kinds of centralization is good. You don't want too big of a pre-mine. You don't want too small of a pre-mine. You want something that rewards the team for actually building the project, right? So there's, and they're all different. There's no one size fits all. And some of them might be less than ideal in my opinion, but nonetheless, they get hype. So like PancakeSwap, I don't like Binance, but Binance has created a great exchange, a great product with lots of options for coins to trade. I don't like how centralized it is. I don't like how big and successful they are. I don't like any kind of power centralization. I don't like the fact that they made a chain and made it centralized. What is that? But like I said, there's trade-offs, and there's a lot of new people coming in that like this. My wife and I made a lot of money farming on PancakeSwap. So I started out, I gave her $5,000. I said, if by the end of the year you double this money, you know, we made some bet, but we really ended up betting nothing. It was just kind of a fun challenge. Anyway, she had done that within like 2 weeks. She doubled her money. And then within 6 weeks, it was even much more. And most of that was made on PancakeSwap. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. Or like Algorand. Algorand is a genius project. It doesn't have as much network effects as some of those others in the top 10, but this has potential, you know, so you can look at some of these Thorchain, one of the best projects in cryptocurrency in my opinion. Terra and Avalanche, 2 others, top tier projects. This one is garbage, don't touch it. Some of these are tokens for exchanges like Huobi token and FTT. So a lot of times, this one up here, this is a token from Binance, where if you own this token, you can trade on their exchange for reduced fees, or in the past you could invest. I think still, if you hold some, you can be one of the investors in their launch, in the projects that they launch. So if you hold these tokens, they give you different benefits and perks and different utilities and use cases, and they have different tokenomics where the team can burn some of the tokens to make them go up in value. Anyways, this takes me back to what I was talking about with what backs up a currency, or in this case, they're not necessarily currencies, they're tokens that come with benefits, that come with value. They don't have to be a physical product. They add convenience to your life, and that has worth. So why wouldn't you want to keep it? It's like having a whole bunch of coupons that save you money. You collect those and they have value for you. So these tokens, maybe think of them as like coupons, but with more benefit than just one. So they're a service. That's how I think of it. Like I said, economics provides value through goods and through services, and these tokens provide value through services. They save people money, they save people time, they give them special access or special privileges to certain things, so there is nothing wrong with it. What's wrong is when you have a scam, like something like, where is that? The SafeMoon coin. I was just looking at it a second ago. It's up here somewhere in the top coins. There it is, 46. So this one built a huge community somehow. I don't know how it did it, but I don't like this coin. I won't go much into that because I don't know much about it. I just avoided it with a 10-foot pole. Okay, so let's see. What's our next topic? Let me show you my I have a couple. This isn't actually my portfolio. This is just a watch list. These are coins that I like to check. I've kept all the coins I don't like out of here, ones that I either own or I am interested in. We'll give that page a second to load. And if you go down to the bottom of the page, okay, so a lot of these are small caps. So if you look at the market cap, these have a question mark. Like, they're such new projects that they don't even have a market cap yet. Now remember, I don't own all of these. I own some of these. But like, if you invest in some of these coins down here, this one went like 4x on me already. I've already taken out all my profits on it, and now I have some that I'm just holding for free, just in case someday it like moons to the sky. It could completely fail, but that's okay. I already got a lot of profit on it and already got out of it. These small coins, these brand new coins, you can make potentially crazy money on. Or they can go to zero, of course. Like I said, the market and them is much easier to move. So you kind of find these rotation of trends of what the latest hype is and what's getting talked about. What are the influencers talking about and stuff like that. And I'll show you a little bit more about that in a little bit. But so on these small caps, you want to, if you really want to go high risk, high reward, you can look at something under $10 million or under $5 million market cap. You would study the vesting schedule, and you would write down or type on a Excel sheet or a Word document what the vesting schedule is, what dates are tokens going to be released from the early investors, how many tokens are released every day, how many tokens does the team have, and what's their vesting schedule. And then you can compare the circulating supply to the total supply. So if you click on a token, let's see, which one do I want to look at? If you go to Penguin Finance, which is built on Avalanche, you can see that they have 7 million circulating. So they've basically pre-mined all their coins. But if you, I don't know where it's at, but if you research on their Medium blog or on their website somewhere, you'll find the percentage of tokens that are going to the people providing liquidity on the platform. So we have a new thing nowadays called decentralized finance, where more and more people get the rewards of providing liquidity to an exchange rather than centralized market makers, which is revolutionary, and talk about that a little bit in a minute. But What else do you want to look for in a project? Well, basically, I'll just kind of show you how. Now, there's a quick way that I analyze the project, and then there's a much deeper way. And if you want to do the deeper way, I recommend that you read through this blog that I wrote on 20 points to check, to go over. And you'd want to spend a whole day, probably 2 or 3 even, really studying a project before you decide if you want to put money on it, if you want to do it this real very careful way, or you can even go through this whole sheet, this score system that I formed, which is very in-depth. But just to let you know how you can quickly analyze a project, you look at the tokenomics like I just talked about. You go to their website. Now, you don't want to be suckered in by a flashy website, but sometimes you can tell, like, is this quality project or is this just some junk thing, just by your first impression looking at their website. So I can look, okay, and I just go and I check all their socials. I see what kind of documentation they have. What is their white paper? Is their white paper hokey looking, or is it put together, you know, with quality? I want to find, okay, learn more. Token distribution. Okay, so you can study their tokenomics there. It's right in the open, easy to find. I really like that because sometimes. So, okay, here we go. We've got all their information here. This is a user-friendly way to go through, study different topics. Okay, so you can read through all that. Here's this is the white paper, and that's taking us back to the same thing we were just looking at. So and then you can look at the roadmap, which might actually take us to the same thing. Maybe not. Okay, it looks like we're going to have an infographic. So the projects do these in different ways. They have their documentation. Some of them might have like a PowerPoint pitch deck, an introduction video. You will look through the roadmap, and then in some cases you can go to their GitHub and you can research, are they actually contributing code? A lot of crypto is open source, which allows for rapid innovation and a lot of competition. That's why there's so many coins. Because somebody creates something revolutionary, it's open source, people could just copy paste it over here and start their project and start competing with the project that actually did the innovation. But this actually speeds up innovation because all these ideas are open to the public, nobody's patenting them, right? So but be careful, because if you have like Uniswap, who's a very reputable centralized exchange that has made its code open source that anybody can copy and paste and start their own project, well, these projects might upgrade it. They might make a change to it, in which case you want to always check, has this project been audited? So there's professional auditors who check the code, and other people that will read and review code, developers that know what they're doing and can tell you if there's some kind of back door where they might be able to change the amount of coins that are produced, or even to mint a bunch of coins and then sell them on the market and disappear. So when you have these projects where nobody even knows who the team is, because they want to make the project decentralized, you really need to make sure that the project's been audited. That's really important. Okay, so here's basically you see that they have a plan that they're building, and you'd want to follow this project over time to see if they are building. Now, going back to CoinGecko, I always follow links from this website or from CoinMarketCap, because if you're just Googling links, you could follow a bad link and get phished by a scammer. So always, always, always only follow links from CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, or maybe from Masari if you like to use that website. Okay, so I check the website, I check their Medium blog, and I see how active are they communicating with their community. I'll read through probably at least 3 of these and see what their marketing is like, see what their plan is like, what market are they reaching out to, are they doing something unique, is this something that I think has a chance of success in the market. Okay, then you go to, now Telegram is a very, very big deal in Twitter, very, very important. And I have a couple accounts that are anonymous. That way I can go in there, nobody knows who I am, and I can ask stupid questions. And nobody has to know about it. So I would come here and I would go to open up their Telegram link. So I'd come in here, and the first thing I would do is check their pinned message and see what they're talking about. And I would see, after that, I would go through and I would see what kind of atmosphere is their community. Is there a lot of people talking crap, or is there a lot of helpful people that are really believe in this project, strong coin holders, not people who are in just dumping the coin or just trying to, like, you know, pump the coin to make a buck, but they really like this project. They really believe in this project. Is it a positive? Primarily, are the comments positive? If there is a problem, how is the team, the admins, responding to them? Are they helpful, or a lot of times you'll find them either indifferent, not answering questions, snooty, or outright arrogant and rude. So I'll scroll through dozens and dozens and just try to get a general feel for what is this community like. That's very, very, very important. I look at how many followers there are. In this case, it's 1,700, so there's probably not a lot of fake followers. Okay. So there's the Telegram. Then I'll check their Twitter. And so you check all their social medias. Twitter and Telegram are the biggest ones in crypto, and then a lot of projects also will use Discord. So Discord is helpful because you have all these different categories of discussions. So it's more organized and easier, but Telegram somehow became much more popular in cryptocurrency. So what I do is I go to their Twitter, and I usually follow them, and then I'll ring the notifications so that I can get notified if they notify upcoming changes or events, and I can mark those on my calendar. I can even go into TradingView on a certain coin, and I can put a line. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Well, I can go forward to whatever the date is of the event, and I can make a vertical line. Let's say June 21st, they have some big event coming up. And then I can click on this alarm icon, and I can set up this alarm to notify me by email, by pop-up on my screen and whatnot, when this date is coming. So if there's a big event coming up, they say buy the rumor, sell the news. Okay, so I can buy back here, and then the day before or the day of, or half and half. I would recommend half and half, the day before and the morning of the event, sell. And make sure to do it before others start doing it, because it's going to happen. Okay. Now, where was I? So I go to their Twitter page. I look at how many followers they have. Are they growing? Do they have hype? And one of the ways you can know if they have hype is I follow all or most of the big influencers in crypto, and it will tell me here who's following them. So right now, Penguin Finance doesn't have a lot of followers. It has Blockchain Brad, who's really great. Ricky's Fundamentals, but that's, other than that, it's just Avalanche projects. So Penguin Finance doesn't have a lot of awareness right now, but that might be good because the market cap's still very low because of that. Nobody knows about it, but what if somehow this catches on, right? Avalanche is a really, really great crypto project. Okay, so then what I would do, I've checked out their social medias, I've checked out their tokenomics, I've checked out their documentation and their website, I've checked out their roadmap and their GitHub and see if they're actually working. I've checked out how the the team communicates with the community. Are they active on Twitter? Are they actually posting meaningful things? Are they even posting fun stuff? Are they active? Do they care? Are they helping people that have questions? And then I'll go to YouTube and I'll go to Penguin Finance, and I'll try to find out if big influencers or small influencers or both and are talking about them. Have they been doing any interviews? 269 views. They have some of their own videos they've made, which is super cool because projects don't always do that. So they're trying to onboard new users. They're trying to help them out. So I'll give them a couple points for that. I don't know if he's talking about Penguin Finance in this video or not. It might have just showed up in the search, but I could go in here. George is, fairly big crypto influencer, 349. So what I would do is I would open up the transcript, and then I would do Command F search for either PFI or Penguin Finance. Okay, nothing came up with PFI. Penguin. Has the whole, or that's not the transcript. This is the transcript. So maybe I'll just scroll through just to make sure it's all loaded. Check again. Okay, he's not talking about it. Okay, so that's how I would check to see how much buzz is there out there about this project. Here we have Avalanche. Well, everybody knows about Avalanche. So anyways, I would check those things, and then I would say, you know, since this is a small market cap, I would put a very small part of my portfolio in it, like 1%, 2% maximum. And then after I invest in it, I would find the chart for it. I don't think Penguin Finance has a chart yet, but I would put a chart on TradingView. So as you can see, I have different portfolios. This is daily macro charting. I have portfolio 1, 2, and 3, right? So let's go to this one for now. And let's say I want to buy a smaller cap coin like GUM. As you can see, there's not a lot of liquidity on this coin. It's going to be very high risk. It has a very small market cap. So first of all, I would look on a daily chart. If you're new and you're looking for an entry, only use a daily chart. And I would ask, has this thing had a big run up? I wouldn't want to buy up here somewhere, right? I would want to wait for a pullback, wait for a dip, and I would want to buy on the bottom of a dip somewhere. You never want to try to get the exact bottom. It's not possible. If you buy somewhere down here, it's much better than buying up here. And then what you do, let's say I bought right now. Okay. So I put in my line. I bought right now at this price. The second thing I do is I decide where is my stop loss. Okay. So I say if this daily candle, I go back, I find this support level, and I say if the price closes on a daily candle below here, I sell everything. I'm out because there's no support below this. If this thing closes below here, it's going down further. So I say I set an alert on this price level that if the price moves below that, I get set an alert. And I also put the coin in my phone on my Blockfolio app, and I set a couple alerts in there as well. So I'll get alerted on my computer, I'll get alerted on my phone. And then I don't wait till the price just goes below there. I wait like a wick like this. See this wick? I wait until the price closes. This is a close. So if a candle closes below this line, I sell and I'm out. Or I come in and I say, when do I want to take profits on this coin? So I got in at this coin at $1.10.5. So let's say if it doubles in price, that would be $2.20. That's a 1x. I would say I want to take profits here. I want to take out half of what I put in, or even you could take in here all of what you put in, and then you're in the coin for free. This is the first thing you should do whenever you buy any coin. Set your stop loss, set your target. You can set your target at 1x levels. I don't recommend doing this if you buy high. I only recommend doing this if you buy low. And if the coin is a smaller market cap, your chances of getting a 1x are much higher. So your targets can be higher percentages. If you're investing in, you know, one of the top 100 coins, or a coin with a larger market cap, like Cardano or like Binance Coin, one of these coins up here, your chances of it doubling in value are much lower. So you have to have different profit-taking strategies depending on the size of the market cap, depending on the risk level, okay? So you come in, and let's pretend for a second this is a large cap coin. I would say if this grows 10% in value, I'm going to take some profits. Oh, there's 12%. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. So this might actually be a good profit-taking point if I said, when this gets up to this resistance level, I'm going to take out 25% of my initial investment. Or you can say 25% of my coins. So 25% of your initial investment in dollar value is going to be different than your 25% initial investment in coins. So larger market caps, what I like to do is I would say if this goes up by 25%, I sell 25% of my initial investment. On smaller cap coins, I'll say if this 1x's, I take out 25% of my initial investment. Depending on the market conditions, if we're a strong bull market, I would do that. If we were in a weaker market, or a market that was in question, or a bear market, I would bring this down maybe once the coin grew 50%. So if I'm in a small cap and I say, once this coin grows 50%, I'm going to take 50% of my initial investment out, or even 100%. You have a profit and you're in the coin for free and you let it ride. Now, another thing is, if you take profits here at 1.65, you set an alert here at your take profit. And let's say if it doubles again from that point. So I got in at $1.10, so 220. So here's, whoops, that's the wrong. So 220. It doesn't have to be exact. I set an alarm on this one. I set an alarm on this one. When I take profits at the first place, I raise my stop loss. This, remember, let's make this red, is my sell no matter what. This was my entry. If the price gets up here, somewhere, if I'm in gain, I move this up to this level. See those? You always look for candle closes to find a support level. And then I change the color of it to orange. And I say, if the price gets above this line, I move my stop loss up here. That way I can't lose any money. If I get a candle close below this price, I'll get an alert. I set my alert. And I set it on my phone and I set it on my computer. And I close the trade and I get out. Then later on I can decide if the price breaks down or if it comes down to my entry. Do I want to get back in? I've locked in my profits. There's no way for me to lose. Then if the price, I take profits here and I sell half my position or 25% of my position, I take this line and I move it up and I find a support level on the chart. You never base your support levels on a price level or percentage level, but according to the chart, you look for horizontal support and resistance. We're keeping it simple, but horizontal support and resistance are one of the most important ones there are, so that's all you really need to know. If you want to go one level more, you combine your targets with Fibonacci levels. So you click on Fibonacci on the daily chart, only use the daily for this. You go to the top wick, you click, and you drag down to the bottom. Now, I don't go to this bottom because with Fibonacci, you should go left to right. Okay, so you draw your Fibonacci lines, and then you have up here, which are called Fibonacci extensions. Okay, so you can use these lines as confluence with support level, with targets by either percentage or when they hit. Instead of percentage, I could say if the price hits this resistance level, I'm going to take profits. And then I can line that up with the 382, and I can say when the price approaches the 382 Fibonacci line, I'm going to take my profits. So you're more conservative. And then you might even say, I'm going to do it down here because sometimes the price gets front run. The algorithms and the big money, they know the levels that people are watching, and they can come in and sell here before you get a chance to. So you can, I like to be conservative and put my take profits below where my goals are and below crucial Fibonacci lines. The most important Fibonacci lines are the 236, the 382, the 618, and the 786. Also, the midway point is important. I have them all marked out here. Okay, so that's a very basic way to form profit-taking strategies. Another one that I kind of mentioned earlier is if you have similar projects that are competitors, you can say when Polkadot market cap reaches Cardano's market cap that it's currently at, I'm going to take profits, which basically means when this doubles in price. So that would be, it's a little bit more, but you could say when Polkadot 1X's, it catches up to Cardano's current market cap, which I think is a realistic goal, I'm going to take some profits there. And you should write down, and you should create a spreadsheet where you write down all the coins, the date you bought them, the transaction leak, the wallet where you're storing them, the wallet address, any notes, the value, the fair market value at the time you bought it, how many coins you bought. You're going to want to track everything because you can use a coin tracking service. You'll be very thankful if you do this from the beginning. It will make your life 1,000 times easier. Just every time you buy or sell a coin, write it down in a spreadsheet. Put how much you bought it for, how many you bought. Later on, if you bought more, record that. Keep totals. You can use a spreadsheet to automatically calculate things. I have other spreadsheets I'm not going to show for privacy reasons. I can create an example, and below this video I'll have a bunch of resources, and I can give you a spreadsheet that you can use to track everything like a template. So basically, you can sign up for a coin tracking service to produce the documentation for all your taxes at the end of the year, or you can record it all yourself, and at the end of the year you can pay them and then input it all either manually, or there's also automatic ways to do it. But be sure to do this even if you aren't reporting your taxes, if you're in a country where you don't have to or whatnot. For your own sake, you'll be very glad if you recorded what prices you entered in at. For a variety of reasons. Okay, so I will make a better spreadsheet for you, a very simple one, and give a link to that template. So you put your I didn't do it in this spreadsheet yet, but you put your targets, target 1, target 2, target 3, target 4. You put the prices in here, and you stick to that. You decide beforehand what your targets are going to be. So anytime you buy any crypto, you've got to mark your take profits on the chart in your phone, on your portfolio app, and in your spreadsheet. I know it's a hassle, but it will make your life way easier, and it will save you a lot of money, especially if you have these stop losses. Now, so if my target was here at the 0.5 fib, and let's say I had another target up here. That should be the yellowish color. Now let's say I take this orange line. Let's say I took profit here and the price is going to new all-time highs, and I make another take profit up here at this fib line. I take my orange line. Every time I take profit, I move it up. Or I don't even have to take profit yet. If my price action gets up in here, and I want to make sure that I maximize, you don't want to get too close, because sometimes you want to give the price room to move around. So let's say I come down to this support level, right? And I say if the price falls back below here, I think it's going to go lower, I'm going to just sell and get out. Okay, so you always, as the price is moving up, you're always moving. You want to keep the stop loss away from the price action, but you want to be moving it with the price action. And you can have a tighter stop if you want to be more conservative, but sometimes you might get stopped out or get alerted more frequently than you would want to. And I recommend not setting your sell orders in the exchanges, or necessarily even keeping your coins on the exchange rather than in your own personal wallet, because the computer on the exchanges knows when there's a bunch of stop losses, and they know when there's sell orders, and they know when they're buy orders. So I prefer to use a mental stop loss, which I chart on the charts myself, and which I put in my Blockfolio app, and which I keep on my spreadsheet, and then just get alerted, and then I can log into the exchange, transfer my coins there, or some coins I might keep on an exchange if I don't have too many on there, for more convenience, if the exchange is reputable and safe and trusted over time, like Binance, Coinbase, or Kraken, or probably OKX, and even some of the smaller ones like KuCoin or Gate.io, you can keep coins on there, or FTX, which is a bit bigger now, or probably Femex or Bybit. I think it's relatively safe as long as you're keeping less than 5 or 10% of your portfolio on that exchange, absolute maximum, and don't keep it there for too long. Yeah, that's use mental alerts or mental stop losses and set alerts, and stick to those rules, because you'll be tempted sometimes to not stick to them, and if you do later on, you'll probably regret it, as I have at times. So you'll give yourself all kinds of reasons when you have a losing trade while you want to hold on to it, you think it can turn around. But the wisest thing is just set your targets, set your stop losses, set alerts, and stick to it no matter what. Okay, so speaking about network effects and about community in cryptocurrency, the big place to be is what they call crypto Twitter. Okay, so that's where all the crypto people are shilling their coins and talking. Another thing, if you want to research a coin, here's a little tip, is you can come onto Twitter and you can Google, put the $, and then put the ticker of the coin. We were looking at Penguin Finance, and then you just search for that $, or you can do also the hashtag and type Penguin Finance out and just see who's talking about it. And top 5 performers in the last 24 hours on Avalanche. PFI looks like number 1, and this was posted 9 hours ago. Okay, that's very interesting. So this is, at some point, I think this could be a good investment. Some point, some influencers are going to find out about this thing, because I looked through how they built their website. I looked through the quality of the documentation, and even though it doesn't have big network effects, I can put a little bit of money into it, because I think it has a good chance of being potentially rewarding. Okay, so they've just got link live on the network. All right. So in crypto Twitter, you'll find a lot of maximalism and tribalism, and that means people that only believe in Bitcoin, or primarily love one coin, or only talk about this one blockchain. Most people, this is biggest in Bitcoin. Most people that believe in the potential of other altcoins have a diversified portfolio. They might have some Cardano, they might have some Polkadot, some Avalanche, some Algorand, some Cosmos, because they either don't know which one is going to win, or they believe, as most people do, there will be multiple projects that coexist. There is a theory that people will tend to, over time, go to one money form, which was gold, and in the future many believe it will be Bitcoin. But that's money, and these are decentralized networks. Now, everybody chose one decentralized network for the internet, and that's the one everybody used. And so over time, it could be true that primarily one chain gets adopted and proves to be the winner. But like, we have Apples and we have Macs, right? And we even have Linux. So you could have different levels of niches. Or we have Facebook, and then we have Twitter, which are the big ones, and YouTube. But we also have Vimeo. So we could have bigger chains, we could have smaller chains, we could have 2 really big competitors. So a lot of people hedge in like 5 different ones because they don't know which one's really gonna win, right? Okay, so there's this thing going around about diamond hands. So one of the things that helps Bitcoin to succeed is there's a lot of people where the coins don't move for years. They buy Bitcoin and they just hold it. So the people call this diamond hands. It used to be strong hands, but now it's called strong hands. So you just buy this coin and hold. But like I said, just don't do that. I mean, you can do that with Bitcoin, or you can do that with one of the bigger projects that's in the top 50 coins that you really like and believe in. Like, I really love Cardano, and you want to accumulate more because you believe it's a coin of the future. But make that, half of your portfolio coins you really hold and believe in, or maybe 60 or 70% if you have a lower risk tolerance. But don't be a maximalist. You can have your favorite coin, but when you get tribalist and you just attack other projects just because they don't hold your coin and not going to make you money, that gets really toxic really quick. And it also makes people dishonest. Like, everyone says Bitcoin is the most decentralized, or the only meaningfully decentralized coin out there. You're just producing lies. It just says to me, you're cultish, you're not honest, and you haven't done your research. So on one hand, people will only promote Bitcoin and not any other coins because they say they don't want people to get scammed. But this isn't honest to me as well. It's like you're not willing to admit that other technology or other tokenomics couldn't be valuable to people or provide value to their life. Just because in 2017 the market wasn't ready for projects and they failed doesn't mean it was a bad idea. Just because the Bitcoin market's highly manipulated doesn't mean these projects can't change the world. Just because some of these projects were centralized scams doesn't mean decentralized innovations can't change the world. Like, it's just simplistic. It's really, really intelligent, highly intelligent people thinking with blinders on, right? Unwilling to look because it either threatens their portfolio, or maybe they are genuinely concerned about people losing their money. But that's how new innovations happen. Projects get funded. Like I said, Bitcoin surviving was a phenomenon. It was a miracle of all miracles. There's nothing wrong with marketing done in a real way, in a genuine way. Now, if you're looking to just fleece people and just hype your project on social media and get some YouTubers to talk about it and then dump your coins on people, that's not cool at all. So, there's a fine line there, and you gotta do your homework, and you've got to be safe, and in those more risky coins, you put less of your money in, right? So, because they have what's called asymmetric asymmetric bet. It's an asymmetric bet where if you put $100 in something, or if you can afford to lose $1,000 and it goes to zero, but you can also get a 100x multiplier or a 1000x multiplier, right? So the upside is ginormous and the downside is small. So only put in what you can afford to lose and still sleep at night. If you're not sleeping at night, if you're constantly checking it and you're constantly worried, you put too much in one coin that you shouldn't have. Okay, so that reminds me about stop losses. So when you have your stop losses, let's say the coin moves up 5% and then you move your stop loss to entry point, maybe slightly above, just a couple ticks, so that you don't lose any money even on transactions. If the price gets up in this area, you're in for free, right? And you're going to get alerted, and you updated your alerts every time it changes. Another way to have a stop loss is, say you're investing $10,000 into crypto, and you say, I'm going to put 2,000 of this 10,000 in higher risk coins. Well, then spread that out between 5 to 10, probably 10 higher risk coins. So if you have 2,000 you're going to put in higher risk coins, and you put either 100 or 200 in each one, and you spread that out, and then you say, I'm going to ride this even if it goes to zero. That's another form of stop loss, where you've diversified your portfolio enough to where if you lose that money, you're okay. But the potential upside is huge. I would still recommend using this stop loss strategy in combination with that, just so it doesn't go to complete loss. Let's say you can say, if this thing drops 50%, I'm out, right? If it's dropped that far. Now, one little bit of advice, let's see, let me find a coin here. What's a good example? Here's a coin that I've held from the very beginning. It's Digitex. Let's go there. And let's say a coin isn't showing a lot of, if you go down and you look at a max chart and you say, oh, this coin is a great idea, fantastic idea. I love the founder's vision. He wants to create a feeless futures exchange, but he's just had many roadblocks that I think he was sincerely, honestly working hard to build a real product that would be fair for people. The vision is fantastic, but it just didn't get adoption. And I think one of the things that might be shooting them in the foot is the fact that they're trying to use Digitex as like their main coin on the exchange, where people need to be able to deposit and withdraw all coins, stable coins and bitcoins. And they were going to produce their own stable coin, and then they decided not to. I think that hurt them a lot as well. I think they should have went through with it. I think they were overly paranoid. But anyway, this project, I invested in this thing. I think it was back here somewhere. And then it pumped up here, and then then they had the announcement when the exchange was supposed to launch, and it didn't. Because the team ended up producing a piece of crap, the development team that he hired. And I happened to catch that announcement like in the first 5 minutes it came out. So I logged into the exchange and sold my coins, and I bought back in down here somewhere. Can't remember where it was. But I got a bunch more coins, but still, for a long time. And then they came out with announcement and everybody got hopeful again, and then it just ended up not delivering. So I always liked what he was trying to do, so I just held on. I held on to this coin for a long time, and even more recently, down back here, I bought more. So I really got a whole bunch of these, and I'm providing liquidity and getting rewards. I'm earning more and more of these, and I just leave it there because it's something that's like, I don't know, I've probably put $2,000 into this thing, and it could probably go to zero, but the upside potential, if they ever do, I think, fix the few things on the site that are keeping people back. And then I've seen a lot of different YouTubers talk about it. So people know about this project. If they just get it right and then just get some awareness out there, it has the potential to take off big time. If their site can handle the traffic, if it comes in. So anyways, this is a very high risk coin I'm in. But even though it's down here, what I then do when I see a coin that's struggling this much down at the bottom, and I say, this thing looks like it's going to die, it's on life support, it could go kaput, then I go in their Telegram, I go on their Twitter, I go on their Medium blog, and I go on their GitHub, and I say, are they still building? Are they still communicating? Do they still care? Is it, have they given up? You can see the signs. You can see it. It's in the air when the team is just given up, they're gone, right? But this, I've held this token because I keep, no matter how much people I saw them talking trash and talking FUD and disappointed, I saw that the team never gave up. So I just held on because who knows, maybe they'll break through. So basically my point here was, if you come and you find a chart where the coin is, you know, like Algorand, this is a great example, where the chart's just struggling. So I come here, the max. I would suggest when you're asking if you're going to get into a good entry in a coin, come down here, look at the max chart, look at the all-time high, look at the all-time low. You know, you wouldn't want to invest in this thing here. But now we got this big dip, and you can think, So I actually bought this thing when it first came out, back here somewhere. And we were just, like, not just in a bear market, we'd been in a bear market for a while. And all it did was just go down. And I put only $100 into it or something. And through these couple years, it was, I think it was down to like $10 or less even on my portfolio after putting $100 in it. And now it got up, or actually I think I must have invested in it back here somewhere, because recently it was worth over $700. So my $100 investment that I held on to that was worthless became worth over $700. Now it's back at a good entry because these people were a sincere project that was building, that was still alive. So if you're deciding, am I going to just sell this or get out, or I've already lost enough, I might as well just hold on to it. Those are the signs you want to look for. Look at their social medias, look at their GitHub, look in their Telegram community, and see if they're still building and if they are still communicating with their community. Because if it's way down here like this, I'll give you a tip here, the whales are buying it. They're slowly accumulating this over time. This project's not dead, and even sometimes they'll do it with the dead projects. Or another good example would be Grin. So the whales, they scan the markets, the professional traders, the people with a lot of money, and they look for these coins where the project's not dead yet, but it's way down here on the bottom, and they just buy this little by little so as not to move the price too much, and they're just accumulating it. And then sometime in the future, they'll pay some marketer to pump it, or they'll start buying it, and they get the price going, and they'll pump it up, and you can hit your targets and get out. Or if it's a long-term favorite, like Grin is one of my favorites, I just hold on to it because I think sometime in the future it's going to be worth way more than it was back here. I think my first entry was $5, and then later I got in at $1, and then through here I just been accumulating more, and I'm just waiting. So I've dollar cost average. So those are that's another way you can determine where you want to buy in, where you say every week I put $20 into crypto, or every month I put $50 or $1,000 into crypto. So you say, and then what you'll do, that's called dollar cost averaging, where every Saturday I automatically buy $10 of Bitcoin, or every Saturday I automatically buy $100 of Bitcoin, and then over time you get an average price. I still, even if you do that, I recommend tracking it into the spreadsheet, because then you can easily calculate your average price using the spreadsheet to do that. So let's say Saturday hit on this day, and I say, well, I'm not going to dollar cost average now, I'll wait for the dip. So I wait for the dip and I buy here. That's called value cost averaging. So instead of every Saturday you say every big dip I'm going to buy, I'm going to set aside the money every week on this Saturday and then wait for a big dip so I get a better average price. So those are a couple of good ways to look for entries. Never buy something, when it's right here or when it's here. Now, more recently, some coins because we're in a bull market, they went up, they had a massive pump, and then they pulled back to here, and I bought in like around here because they're in a bull market, and I think we have much higher to go. But then we had this huge crash, and a lot of the coins I was in just went, Now, what you can do in this case is you can consolidate into fewer positions, because if let's say you're in 3 coins, and they're all going to bounce. You're expecting them to bounce to where you don't want to sell here. You want to at least wait for a little bounce and then get out. You can sell 2 of the coins into 1. And so you pick the 2 coins that you think are least likely to succeed, and you move them into one you think is more likely to have succeed, and it's easier to manage. And you say, I think this coin is going to pump before these other 2s do, or this coin has a better chance of success, so I'm going to consolidate. Even though 3 coins I'm in a loss, I'm going to move that loss into 1 coin. Will be easier to manage, and then I'll set my stop losses on that 1 coin. And if the whole market goes up and those other coins start getting momentum and they show signs of life, I can get back into them. So that's the way. If all your coins are going down, you can, instead of having 5 losers, you can move into 1 or 2 losers, and move into the ones you think you have the best chance of reviving themselves. You know, ones that are maybe lower risk or have a bigger awareness, people know about them and talk about them more. And that's going to lead me into sectors and hype trends. So you have different sectors of coins in cryptocurrency, and when you can manage your portfolio according to that. So the majority of, I personally, I own some Bitcoin, but I almost own none. I plan to. My goal is to have 20 Bitcoin, but I'm more invested in these other coins because I think their percentage increase will be greater than Bitcoin's will. And then at the end of this bull market, I can buy more Bitcoin. My goal is to have at least 20. And I also have a goal of having 1 million Cardano. That's a huge goal, but that's the minimum Cardano I want to have. And I also have over 2,000 Avalanche. I'm going to be an Avalanche validator, and I have a lot of Luna, and I have a lot of Atom, and I am going to be providing liquidity on their Gravity DEX. And I'm going to be talking more about that because that goes into another subject called decentralized finance. Okay, so Bitcoin is money, store of value. Ethereum is smart contracts platform. Binance Coin, exchange platform and smart contract platform, because they've created the Binance Smart Chain. So they've broadened the use cases for this token. So a token's use cases can change over time. And if they're not able to add them onto the smart contract, they can create a new one and have everybody with the old tokens simply swap their tokens for the new version, which has been upgraded and has new utility, new use cases. Also, when you have a centralized coin like Binance, they can occasionally burn some and decrease the supply. And Binance is very smart and very good at marketing. They have a huge network effect. And over time, their coin is becoming more and more valuable. That's how it's been able to skyrocket into the top 5 coins. So Cardano, network effect. Dogecoin is would be a form of money, but not a store of value. I would say currency, payment coin. XRP, poop. Polkadot is a smart contract. Then we have stablecoin. Here, Tether stablecoin. They're pegged to the dollar. These enable you to sell a coin and get into dollar value quickly, and then hold it there if you think the market's going down, and you can rebuy lower. Or you can buy stablecoins with dollars. You can put them into the Celsius app, the Voyager app, or the Anchor protocol, or a number of different DeFi platforms, and you can earn yield on them much higher than you will in a normal bank. So you can keep your savings in. I advise USDC coin or even BUSD over Tether, because Tether's highly controversial and they do different. They may be insolvent or use different kinds of fractional reserving, or it's not actually backed up by a dollar, it's backed up by paper assets and all this other tomfoolery. So use USDC coin or BUSD coin, this one right here. Okay. I'm just trying to give you an idea of the different types. They're trying to build a new internet, decentralized internet, which is actually centralized to some degree. So it seems really interesting, but also a sketch. It's kind of. Bitcoin Cash is a fork of Bitcoin, probably the only fork of Bitcoin, not only, but primarily, that survived and has a large community. And what they did is they said they think Bitcoin should be have bigger block sizes and include more transactions so it can be faster and cheaper. But for some reason, the Bitcoin maximalists fought against this. It created a civil war in Bitcoin, and it splintered into 2 separate communities. I don't know why, actually. I need to read why they don't like the bigger block sizes. They just think this is a terrible idea. I actually don't know why that's such a bad idea. Even though I do know a considerable amount of Bitcoin, I never actually looked that up. Can't believe that. Okay, Uniswap. Uniswap is the granddaddy, the godfather of decentralized finance. Basically, so when you have a crypto exchange like Coinbase or Binance, you have what are called market makers. So market makers will have a lot of two of a coin, and they create these robots to put orders on the screen. So let's go into Binance here. Okay, so they put orders on the screen, these flashing orders. Now, a lot of these orders aren't real. They're just robots, or they're even spoof orders. They're just, sometimes they'll flash around real fast, try to scare people, make people think that there's a lot of buy orders coming in or a lot of sell orders coming in. But the thing is with these exchanges is you can have hidden buy orders and hidden sell orders. So the only thing that moves the market are market orders that actually happen on the market. So if you're starting to use crypto exchanges, don't pay attention to these flashing red and green lights. If you want to calm them down, you can move this like this, and they'll be a lot less distracting. Because just keep in mind, a lot of these are just bots putting prices and removing, and they're called spoof orders, and they're meaningless. And then also you have market makers who are putting, filling in the gaps here to provide opportunities for people to buy and sell, and they're getting a small percentage of the fees, right? So this is centralized market making, which can be very corrupt and very centralized, where a few entities making money off of it. But now we have new innovation in finance. Not only have we had innovations with Celsius and Voyager and others, where they give the majority of the interest to the people instead of with the centralized entity, the bankers, but we have now we have this, where I can come on here. I don't have to provide my identification, and I can connect my MetaMask wallet, this Fox guy here. So open this up, and I connect to the Ethereum mainnet, and there it is. It connected my wallet to this website. This is the interface, and I can trade Ethereum for another token that I want to buy, Aave. Okay, so I have 0.07 Ethereum. So let's say I want to trade, 0.01 Ethereum, and it will auto-calculate how many Aave I can buy, 0.07 Aave with 0.01 Ethereum. Or let's say I have some USDC. Let's say I had 1,000 USDC, and I would want to, it will tell me how much Aave I can buy. Okay, and then I don't have enough, so it won't let me do it, but then I click the blue button, and it will pay the Ethereum network to allow me to do this transaction, and then I'll click a second time, and it will allow me to then do the swap. Now, how is this possible? Because we have what are called pools, where I put, let's say I want to participate, I'll put $100 of USDC in and an equal USD value of Ethereum in the pool. That means anybody who swaps USDC for Ethereum will pay a 0.03% fee, and I will get a percentage of those fees depending on my percentage of the pool. So if I put $100 in, I probably have like 0.000001% of the pool, but that means I'll get 0.000001% of all the fees produced while my money is in there. Okay, so that's called a decentralized form of market making, and it's decentralized because it allows anybody to participate. There's no one entity running it. I mean, there is, to a degree, Uniswap is centralized in the fact there is a team that built the website, created the code, put the code out as open source, and they got some of the tokens to work to keep building, right? But a lot of those tokens went out as rewards to people that provide liquidity and to people that use the platform in the past. So you have all different architectures of reward systems on QuickSwap. I can come here and trade for fractions of a penny. It's much cheaper to use than Ethereum and much faster. I can trade, USDC for something else that I want. And Aave, they're another form of decentralized finance innovation where you can put your coins on there and earn interest, and they use a smart contract to automatically loan them out to people who want to put up collateral and take out loans, right? So there's numerous innovations in financing, lending and borrowing, earning yield, providing liquidity. There's even a thing called flash loans where you do, like, you can do like $1 million borrow and repay in a fraction of a second and make money on it. There's arbitrage opportunities, and it's all decentralized. Anybody can participate. No one has to give their ID. No central entity is running everything, controlling everything. Anybody can list their coin on this platform without asking for permission or paying money to Binance or Coinbase to have their coin listed there. Anyone can list it. It's amazing. There's dangers that go along with anybody being able to create and list a coin also. That's why you only follow links from Gecko, CoinMarketCap, or from Masari, okay? Then you have PancakeSwap. It's another decentralized DEX, and you can provide liquidity on these farms, and you provide 2 of a token, and then you can track it. Now, one thing I want to say that I'll probably replay throughout the video is all of the topics I'm covering here are introductory. So if you have other questions about any of these things, write them down. And I think that I will once a week, every Saturday, I'll announce the time shortly, but every Saturday at a certain time, I will go live, and I'll just take any noob questions people might have and just try to help as many people that I can for a couple hours. And I think that would be really cool. Help you out with any questions that you might have. So follow me on Twitter, follow me on YouTube, and you'll be getting an announcement. You know, click the notification and you'll get an announcement of when I'll be going live, and I'll just take as many questions as I can about anything and help as many people out as I can. And that's I don't have time right now to produce a lot of videos, but I will come on once a week and go live. I think that would be fun and very, very helpful for some people. So I come in here, and so you're going to want to set up a MetaMask wallet. And when you set up your MetaMask wallet, you want to record your private seed phrase on a 3x5 card in a pen, permanent ink, and you want to make multiple copies, 3 copies. And you want to hide them in very safe places that nobody knows about. I recommend putting them in, laminating them or putting them in a plastic baggie, then putting that in a fireproof bag, and then hiding that either in a safe or somewhere else in a safety deposit box at a bank. I have a whole security blog here that I recommend anybody going into crypto should read for highest security practices, for how to store your crypto, how to open up your wallets. You are being your own bank, which is very nerve-wracking and scary, but also extremely liberating and financially rewarding. Okay, so once you've set up a MetaMask, which is a type of crypto wallet where you can interact with these different decentralized finance platforms and even like gaming platforms and other things. So on MetaMask, see here, I can interact with different blockchains. I can interact with the Ethereum blockchain. I can interact with the Avalanche blockchain, with the Rootstock blockchain, which is a sidechain built on top of Bitcoin itself. Binance, Matic, and then there's others like Cosmos, but Cosmos uses the Kepler wallet. Okay, so all these blockchains I can interact with using Binance by I come in here and I set up a custom RPC, and I just Google set up custom RPC for Binance Smart Chain or for Polygon or whatever the blockchain is, and I find the information, I punch it in here and click save, and then whichever blockchain I'm interacting with on the farm or the pool, I click on that particular one. So right now we're on the Binance Smart Chain, so I click connect. Man, I can already feel my voice starting to hurt, so I hope I don't end up damaging myself again. Okay, so then I click staked only, and you can see right now that I am staking in 4 pools just to earn some rewards. And I don't have a lot of money in these pools right now. I think I have a good amount Well, actually, in these two I do. And I'm farming rewards. And if you go to Yield Watch, this is a really great project. You buy some of their tokens. You need to buy so many in order for however much amount of money you have. And you connect your wallet. My wallet's already connected, and you click here. And it tells me how much money is in my wallet, how much money I'm farming with, how much money I've earned, how much money I've earned farming, and how much money I've lost to a thing called impermanent loss, which won't go into here, but I can explain that more later. So I can click on information. So this gives me all the money that I've earned off of fees from people trading, how much money I've lost by my tokens changing in value over time, and the amount of rewards that I have pending that I haven't claimed yet. And I can tell you that my wife and I have made doing this on various platforms like we could live on it, basically. So, and it won't necessarily always last forever, because we're in a bull market, for one. For two, it's a lot of projects have big rewards when they're new. So if you get in early, they'll have bigger rewards to kind of bootstrap early users and reward those users heavily for coming in early. Okay, so this is a yield watch tracking platform for the Binance Smart Chain. And then there's other ones. There's like APY Vision for tracking on Polygon, and I think they do it for other chains as well. I'm not sure which one there is for Ethereum. I actually, my wife uses this all the time. It's a really great tool. I rarely use it because I don't care that much about my day-to-day impermanent loss. I care about what it is when I take it out. Okay, so this one is not. You also have one-sided staking. So on PancakeSwap, if you go to pools, not farms, I can put in my cake, and I can earn cake, which is auto-compounded right here, manual or auto cake, manual cake, where I can compound it myself if I want to. So, or I can stake cake and I can earn Chromia, which is another great project I really like. I can earn, I don't know what this one is. A great project, but their coin just went to nothing. I think it will bounce back someday, but God knows when. TRX is another project I do not like. I do not like this. But I'm staking for Nerve right now. They had it where you could stake for odds, you can stake for nulls, you could stake for AEST token, which is a NFT gaming token. So basically, this is one-sided staking where you don't risk impermanent loss and you get rewards. And there's two different kinds of staking in crypto. There's the kind of staking like on Polkadot or Cardano where you're actually helping secure the network and getting rewarded for that. And then there's this type where you're staking tokens. You're not securing a blockchain, but you're taking those coins off the market and they can use them either to loan out to people or to provide liquidity to their platform. And there's various architectures. And then you just basically get rewards for leaving your tokens in there because they're off the market. They're not being sold. So you get rewarded for keeping them in there. And there's different kinds of ways they set this up. There's somewhere you can stake them and keep them in your wallet, somewhere you deposit into pools. There's Rune, which is one of my most interesting projects, but I haven't actually learned how to use it yet. I'm in the process of researching that right now. Like I said, I don't really like, I think Binance Swap, the PancakeSwap team is working very hard and doing a lot of cool things and that have earned trust in various ways, but I don't like the centralization of the Binance Smart Chain. But I use it because there's a lot of network effects and hype, and we're earning a lot of rewards there. So there's this thing, which I don't know. I'm very disappointed in this project. I put a few $100 in it, and the token is just done nothing but done terrible. And they keep. I invested in it because I followed the interviews of the founders, and I saw the things the founders say, and they're very clever and they're very smart about DeFi. But ultimately, I got it's like, they're just trying to like do a money grab, it seems like, and like create all these innovations just to pump the coin when the coin is doing nothing over time but going down. So it's very frustrating. It's like this big question mark. And I think because they're very intelligent, if they change this stupid website, which is not very attractive, they could turn it around, I think. So this one's been a disappointment, but this one is a super cool project on Ethereum that I recommend people look into. Their plan is, they say they have no plan, which actually they do. Their plan is to not have a plan, but they're building, and they're always coming up with these cool new things. They're basically creating NFTs out of providing liquidity, and that have NFTs that ultimately will have utility, but nobody knows exactly how or when. So, anyways, so I stake in here. I've got a couple of crucibles going. It's a very interesting project. Then there's Avagachi, where if I go to stake Ghost, connect to the Polygon network because I'm on the Binance Smart Chain. So connect my MetaMask there, and then it will show that I'm staking Ghost tokens, and I'm not actually earning. Whoa, what happened? Oh, there it goes. I'm not actually earning coins or tokens. I'm earning what they call friends points. So I have almost 500,000, and with these friends points, I can buy these tickets, which go in a raffle like once every 3 months. I think they do it, where I can win these different wearables. And these things are wearables that, well, basically the main game, they have different games they're building for this, but the main one is you do a thing called rarity farming, where you buy these portals that give you these different ghosts that have different rarity scores, and then you play dress up with these. Well, they just upgraded their website, and it looks like I'm getting a glitch. Oh, it's because I put the URL in wrong. So, but the Ghost token is really interesting because it's not just a pump and dump coin. It's got a bonding curve, which is actually remained much more stable when the market's crashing. My Ghost tokens retain their value. They go down some, but not nearly as dramatically. It's a really, really cool project. The way it's decentralized in the governance, the way it has a DAO, a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. So it's a way where all the token holders can have voting rights or submit their ideas. It's a super cool innovation. So that's another innovation in decentralized finance, is the way that things are governed. Okay, so here's the leaderboard, and you have these different rarity scores. So right now, this guy is number 1, and basically they're competing to have the most rare Avagachi in existence that there is. So by staking those friends points, I can win tickets to win these, which I can actually sell on the market. So I go play, I go to Bazaar, and I go to wearables, and I actually won a bunch of these and have sold them on here, and I have one right now that's worth tens of thousands of dollars that I have listed on the market that I'm waiting for somebody to buy some glorious day. Okay, and it's actually extremely marked down right now. It's priced to sell. So like I said, then I'm staking Digitex, and because I've had it in there long enough, my rewards increase over time. I'm staking a bunch of Quick tokens, so I'm making money on that right here. I'm staking in the Penguin Finance one. I'm staking on Pangolin, which is a fork of. So QuickSwap was a fork of their V2 Uniswap. Avalanche is a fork of V2 Uniswap. Okay, they've updated their token list. Then also this one is super interesting. This is called Sovereign, and this is decentralized finance built on Bitcoin. So I do highly recommend that if a percentage of your portfolio is in Bitcoin, if you're a lower risk person, 60 to 70%. If you're a higher risk person, 10 to 20% of your portfolio is in Bitcoin, maybe 30, right? So then I would say check out Sovereign, because it's very, very early in this project, and you can earn. Please let me close the trade. Please, okay, in order to update, I have to, but this is a super interesting DeFi project. There's Walt Finance, which is on the Binance Smart Chain. This one, to my surprise, has done really well. I think they're getting listed if they haven't already been listed on Binance. This one is doing really well. This one went to like 3 of my take profit targets really fast, so I'm in that coin for free right now. I'm not gonna tell you how much I'm making, but spread out through all these different platforms that I'm yield farming on or staking on, we're making a good chunk of change. This one I'm staking my GUM tokens to earn Marshall tokens, because the API was, I don't know what it is right now. This one's actually running on Ethereum instead of the Binance Smart Chain. But these guys have partnered with a few projects, even though they haven't really taken off a market cap yet. I think it has potential to do something. So here I'm getting a 200% APY for staking my GUM, and I'm earning these other tokens. I thought, why the heck not? It's better than just holding them in my wallet. I have several tokens that I'm not staking, and there's so many different staking and farming opportunities out there. It's like almost anything you buy will have these opportunities. It's much better than holding it in your wallet. If you're going to keep Bitcoin in cold storage, why not put it in Celsius? Celsius weekly compounds your yield and it does it all automatically. Then this one, I'm staking Berry, which is an oracle for the Binance Smart Chain. Alpaca, this token did very well, made me a lot of money hitting my targets. This is a one where you can do yield farming with leverage, which I don't use, but I just do the single-sided staking. Then there's Farm. So this one, I read a report comparing this one to some of the major DeFi projects and the total value lock, how much money is actually on here. And basically, according to how much yield liquidity is on here, and the use it gets compared to other DeFi platforms, its opportunity or potential for growth in percentage-wise was higher. So I put some money in there, really paying off. I was going to mention earlier, if you can't find one of your tokens on TradingView, this DEX Tools is a really, really good tool for charting coins. And these are all Ethereum coins, and they also have the Binance Smart Chain. You can only have favorites, I think, up to 4, but if you hold some of their token, you can, and you pay like a monthly fee, you can save at favorites and you can chart those coins, and it's just an excellent tool. And you can set alerts on here on the Ethereum chain, but you can't do it on the Binance chain yet. But I think that will come. Another thing you can do with this tool, if you want to be a very, very active investor, is you can follow the rich list, the big wallets, and you can see what the big wallets are doing and when they're buying, what they're buying, when they're selling, and what they're selling. There's other things, so I won't go into that in depth. I just wanted to point you to this tool, which I really, really like. And so between TradingView and DEX Tools, you can get charting for most coins. And then the few that you don't, you can use Blockfolio, or there's another one out there called something Guru. I forget what it's called. Or there's a couple coins I chart. I chart Coin or Grin. Where is it? I chart XBRT, and I chart Grin on charts.cointrader.pro. Okay, so that's another one that people can use. If they want to set up, I don't know if you can set up alerts on there, but you can at least chart your coin and plan your take profits and your stop losses. Okay, let me see what else I wanted to cover here. Phishing scams. Watch out if you're new in crypto and you go into Telegram groups, especially people, or on YouTube channels, people will create a profile that looks like the influencer or looks like the team, and they'll send you private messages and try to get you to click on links. So the number one security rule in crypto is never, ever, ever give your private wallet keys to anybody. Number one. Number two, never, ever, ever, ever click on links sent to you from a stranger. Number three, never, ever, ever, ever send somebody money for any reason who messaged you first. Okay? And then number four is always, 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 always write down your mnemonic phrase for your wallets. Write down your 2FA code when you set up two-factor authorization. And store them in safe places. Never store them on your phone. Never do a screenshot. Never take a picture with a camera. If you have a camera that doesn't have Wi-Fi capability or connections, you can take a picture with that, but that's the only case when you should take a picture of those things. Number 5 is always use two-factor authorization and use minimum two, hopefully at least 3 forms of identity verification when you log into an exchange. You be very, very careful. You don't want to lose your money. And then the next security advice would be to store large positions in cold wallets. Okay, let's talk about wallets. So you have cold wallets, which are like a Trezor or a Ledger NRS, which store your coins not connected to the internet. That's why they're called cold wallets. If you're going to be purchasing large amount of crypto, you want these, or you want to be keeping them with like a certain percentage with Celsius, Voyager, or Anchor Protocol. There's also BlockFi. I don't personally recommend them. Then you can like this MetaMask here. These are called hot wallets because they connect to the internet. Okay, or you can use interfaces that connect to your cold wallet, like the My Ethereum wallet, where you can manage your crypto that's on your ledger through that internet interface. That's not a hot wallet. That's just an interface. And then you have exchange wallets, which are a lot of exchanges have been hacked in the past, so be very, very, very careful. But Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, OKX, and I would say, KuCoin and Gate.io, maybe they could get hacked, but these are exchanges that have stood the test of time, either proven to be safe or in an event where security had a security breach, compensated people. So the people that were affected by it. Okay, but still, if you're dealing with large amounts of money, use cold storage and store it maybe even on 2 or 3 different ones and put those in safety deposit boxes or fireproof safe or whatnot. Okay, we'll talk about when you buy coins on Ethereum, like on Uniswap, there's a thing called wrap tokens. So if I want to send my Ethereum or my Bitcoin over from the Ethereum blockchain over to the Matic or Binance or Avalanche, another blockchain, I'll have to wrap it. So what that means is your Bitcoin gets locked in a smart contract, and then a new form is released on their blockchain, which is of equal number value, but it's called wrapped. It's not actual Bitcoin, it's a token of it that represents it and can be traded and utilized on that blockchain. And then when people transfer back the Bitcoin, that token gets burned, and then the token gets released back onto the original blockchain. So that's called wrap tokens. Wrap tokens are perfectly safe, perfectly okay. And then you have like the difference between coins and tokens. So a coin would be like Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, Matic, DOT, the main chain coin, or Atom for Cosmos, right? And then if you have tokens are like, they're not the main coin of the network, but they're the coin of the different platforms. And so that's the difference between a coin and a token. And a lot of times they're basically a smart contract, which is like, if this happens, the smart contract automatically makes another transaction happen. And it's all programmed in. So it's like programmable money in a sense. And some of it is money, some of it's, I wouldn't call it money, I would call it like value exchange token. Okay, and then you have different types of tokens. Then you have NFTs. NFTs are any form of non-fungible asset that's represented, ownership is represented and proven on a blockchain using smart contracts. So for example, if I have a mortgage to a house, it's not worth the same as your mortgage to your house, and I can put proof of ownership of that on a blockchain, on a provable, verifiable ledger that can't be hacked, and I have it in my wallet. It's non-fungible. Okay, it's not tradable one for one. Or you can have a piece of art, proof of ownership of a physical piece of art, or even a digital piece of art. If it's a digital piece of art or a piece of music or a video, I can prove I have ownership of that or that I created that, and any other reproduction of it that happens, I could collect royalties on it or something. Or these pieces of art could be sold as digital art pieces, and then the transfer of the ownership is provable and stored on the blockchain. So you can have mortgages, you can have art, you can have music, videos, even accounts payable. Like if somebody has a debt they owe someone, that could be stored as an NFT on a blockchain. Anything that's a non-fungible asset can be stored on a blockchain in this way, and the ownership is trackable, verifiable, provable. This has many implications for the future of finance and ownership and blockchain. So a lot of people say, I don't believe in Bitcoin, but I believe in blockchain, which is extremely stupid. No, you don't. Trust me, get rid of that idea. But it's not about blockchain. It's about decentralized blockchain. Now I'm not saying, like I said, there's cases where centralized blockchain is good and even ideal, but there's cases where centralized blockchain is terrible idea. So it depends on the use case and the situation. It's not just I believe in blockchain. No, it's I believe in the right blockchain architecture appropriate for a specific type of project, whether that's supply chain management, decentralized finance, a lending platform, payment platforms, oracles, privacy coins. You have all these different sectors in blockchain. You have gaming. That's another type of NFT. You can have, gaming skins or weapons that you can get in a game, or plots of land that you can have in a game. So there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do with NFTs. So if you want to, a lot of the majority of the market is pushed by Bitcoin. That's the king. So if Bitcoin's going up, it will bring the market up. If Bitcoin's crashing, the market will crash. And usually if Bitcoin is, it goes in cycles. So if Bitcoin pumps 10%, then the major coins, the top 20 coins, a few of those will pump, right? Or all of them, some of them much more greater than others sometimes, and that's often kind of random. You don't know which one it's going to be. And then after those pump, people take profits from those, and then the mid-tier market cap coins will pump. And then sometimes, not all the time, the cycle sometimes will then jump back to Bitcoin, depending on what Bitcoin does. Sometimes it will leak down into the microcaps, and some of those can pump like cray-cray. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. Generally, sometimes you'll have a coin that kind of leads Bitcoin, like whatever Ethereum does, Bitcoin does next, or whatever Litecoin does, Bitcoin does next. But this generally happens for 2 or 3 weeks, and then Bitcoin will take over again at some point. So you kind of have the market moves in these cycles, right? So I'm saying this because you need to be aware of how the money is rotating through the market, and chart primarily Bitcoin. If you follow Bitcoin dominance, if Bitcoin dominance is going down, a lot of the money is moving into the alts. If Bitcoin dominance is staying sideways or moving up, if Bitcoin dominance is moving up but Bitcoin price is going down, the alts will get hit really hard. So, the smaller markets are easier to move. So if Bitcoin moves down by 10% in percentage, the small alts could move 30-40% down, and vice versa. If Bitcoin moves up 10%, the altcoins can pump hard. So they say when the market's going down, you want to be heavier in Bitcoin or heavier in stablecoin. If the market's going up, you might be a little heavier in some of the more risky alts. So that's something to keep in mind. And then pay attention to hot trends. Sometimes the DeFi coins will all want to pump. Or, kind of recently we had this NFT mania where a lot of the NFT projects were pumping. Or in the future, I think that privacy coins will be a really big thing, and privacy coins will really get pumped. So you want to, if you follow, I was saying this earlier, a lot of the crypto people are on Twitter. So if you just find my profile and then look at who I'm following, and just start checking out some of these larger accounts and follow a lot of the people that I follow, you'll be able to keep up with the latest news in Bitcoin and the sentiment of the current sentiment and different hype trends. There's other ways to look into sentiment and to research, to look for microcap gens and hype trends, but for now, Twitter is a really good way to do that. You can also use the Fear and Greed Index. And then I'll also created this list of crypto traders that I basically built over the years, and this can be really helpful to scroll through and see what some of the more a bunch of dumb memes or some really funny memes sometimes. I really recommend Crypto Burb and his gang. They're highly reputable. There's a lot of different traders in here on this list. Like I said, I built it over years, so I recommend subscribing to that Twitter list, but also not just the traders list, but just some of the thought leaders in the space. Just go through here and then hover over some of them and decide which one you want to follow. In a later video, I'll recommend some specific people to follow and YouTube influencers to follow as well. But for now, I just want to say, if you want to chart Bitcoin, some good macro indicators are this guy, William Clement, not indicator, but macro charters and macro indicators. Follow William Clement, follow Willy Woo, follow Glassnode. There's a couple other websites I'll put in the description, and I'll put on the screen here later, that you can use to help you get an idea of where Bitcoin is at on the macro cycles. One thing to be careful of with crypto traders, and just one little tip, is be careful about anybody that says, just like I predicted, or even uses the word prediction. A lot of people will brag about predictions that they made and charting, but it's not. Any professional trader knows that they're not making predictions. They're charting probabilities, and they'll be wrong. Successful traders can be wrong 60% of the time and still be successful traders if they manage their stop losses right. So nobody's making predictions. Somebody says, I think it's going to do this probabilistically, and then when it does it, they say, look, I predicted it. Okay, you can follow those people because sometimes they'll still be good chartists, but just be aware that's not professional trading mentality. Nobody makes predictions of the market. The market can do a million different things. They just chart probabilities, pay attention to human psychology. They understand the market, what it's doing, what it's not doing at the moment. And so I just mentioned that because, you can follow people that are saying a lot of silly stuff sometimes. So just be aware. You want to find projects you think have good value. You want to make entries at good places on the charts. You want to find projects that have good fundamentals and growing community and growing and building. And they know how to market. They know how to build real hype, not just short-term pump hype. You want to ask, is this project undervalued? Is the market ready for this? And so, but if you're a noob, I recommend sticking to the top coins, and then putting a smaller amount of money in some of the more risky coins, but researching them kind of how I recommend it on some of these places. So I think that is most everything I'd want to say to somebody for the first time. I hope you got a ton of value out of this. Like I said, I'll make a video that, once a week, just taking questions from people, trying to help them out in every way I can. So if there's anything I didn't cover, be sure to write those questions down and save them for when we do the live YouTube video. Be safe, and let's take this seriously and change the world together. God bless you.
We're not very courageous. We're kind of cowardly. Why? The fact of the matter is that these people have nooses around their necks. So it's awful horrible what they're doing to other people.